insane conspiracy theorist who turned out to be right. Let's say
From
this.
Alex Jones and Bill Cooper to Edward Snowden, Terry Davies, and Bob Marley, society's
Bob Marley was a conspiracy theorist?
so-called conspiracy theorists have turned out to be right time and time again.
I
Some of their
wonder what his
stories became
conspiracy was
vindicated when
about.
the full story broke.
He was the guy who told me about Epstein's Island more than a decade ago, and I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever heard.
But most never saw the light of day because the search for truth has a habit of pushing people to the very edge like this.
Hello?
Oh my gosh. I'll be fucking frightened.
So let it be right then. So let it be done.
Well,
I'll
I'm King
be fucking
Jerry,
terrified.
And, learned how to purify myself in a horribly impure environment. It's pretty rough living homeless and
That's Terry Davis, a diagnosed schizophrenic and brilliant computer programmer who built an entire operating system by himself in a programming language he invented. And he
Damn.
said God told him to build a temple, so he called the operating system Temple OS. In his last years, he was mostly homeless, drifting across the American West, uploading chaotic videos from motel rooms and parking lots. Terry had spent years claiming that CIA agents were monitoring his computer and that they were everywhere online. He said they glow in the dark, a phrase that became the go-to slang for identifying federal agents in public spaces.
The CIA glow in the dark. You can see them if you're driving. You just run them over.
Then he was hit by a train in Oregon in 2018 at the age of 48.
Oh,
But his
R.I.P.
followers didn't
Terry.
accept that it was an accident. And now he's become synonymous with the conspiracy theorist that no one listened to. Because paranoia is a very effective tool for discrediting someone. If you're truthfully unwell, everyone eventually stops listening to you. But if you're not, it's a brilliant way to engineer that same outcome. Ernest Hemingway, one of the most celebrated writers in history, was played by this exact strategy. In his final years, he was telling his wife, friends, and doctors that the FBI was watching his every move. Of course, nobody believed him, and his own wife thought he'd lost his mind. He went through multiple rounds of electroshock therapy, which destroyed his memory and, by his own account, his ability to even write.
Oh
So
my
he took
gosh.
matters into his own hands on July 2nd, 1961. Years later, a biographer filed a Freedom of Information Act request and found a large file signed off by J. Edgar Hoover himself.
Oh, I found this the other day about Hemingway.
I wonder, like, what's going on in these people's relationships that they don't believe their spouses at all. And also, some information, I'm gonna be honest, it's all in the way you explain it, bro. I could explain myself being chased by the CIA, right? But if I'm coming to you fucking crazy, you're gonna think, what? I'm crazy. But if I were to tell you, like, yo, yeah, this car was following me like for a long minute and it took exactly every route that I was taking. And when I stopped, like it would stop like a couple of spaces back, then continue. And you probably be like, yo, you should probably call the police or what. And I'm saying, I think it's all the way based on the way you explain it.
Hemingway always thought that the FBI was trying to get him, and apparently they actually were.
Really?
Yeah, they actually were. The FBI investigated Ernest Hemingway for decades, with surveillance beginning in the 1940s due to concerns about his activities in Cuba and his associations with individuals suspected of communist ties. While initially dismissed as paranoia, it was later revealed that Hemingway's fears were grounded in reality, and the FBI did monitor him, even tapping his phones and intercepting his mail. This surveillance
Wow.
continued throughout his later years, including his time in the hospital, and may have contributed to his mental anguish and suicide.
So why did they do it? Well, first, he was spending a lot of time in communist Cuba. Second, look at his two most famous books, For Whom the Bell Tolls romanticized an American fighting alongside communists in Spain, while A Farewell to Arms is packed full of anti-war messaging. Massive influence combined with a message like this is not a good combo in the eyes of certain government agencies. Either way, the FBI had been watching him, but everyone around him said he was just paranoid. Few know this feeling better than the most famous conspiracy theorist alive today.
When you've got the same FBI.
Isn't this the frog guy? Gay frogs or something? I remember I seen a song where he was in it. That shit was hilarious, bro.
A couple of years ago with Jeffrey Epstein, We had the Lolita Express with Bill Clinton on at least 16 round-trip flights to the File Island. He got convicted of running.
Alex Jones was talking about Epstein long before the files became undeniable.
What? There's no way. There's no way. I don't follow Alex Jones. Duh. Like, duh, I'm not following that shit. But I didn't know. Wait, how was he able just to talk about this nigga like this? He's well connected, bro. Like, once you learn about him now, like this guy is well connected. How was he speaking about him so freely? Holy.
He also called out numerous false flag military operations and repeatedly told everyone that they happened once so they will happen again.
The same ones that staged Gulf of Tonkin, the same ones that staged Operation, the mass shootings of Operation Gladio.
Right.
I can speak in this accent as well.
Yeah.
Governments have staged terror attacks throughout history or allowed terrorists to attack as a pretext to invade and enslave the populations.
And for years, Jones
Wow.
warned that the US government had built
Hey, not gonna lie. If he didn't end up going on a crazy, I guess that's what happens when nobody starts believing you, but you know, like I'm not gonna say everything he says is rooted in truth, but I guess that's just something that happens as time goes. Like he did, even the creator, his name is Moon, by the way. I no association, just saying. But he even did say like paranoia and all that shit builds up once you start learning about the truth or chasing the truth rather.
a mass surveillance system to spy on its own citizens. He filed 9/11 in the same category as other false flags, and he wasn't the only one who went there before it became fashionable to do so. This is Bill Cooper, a former naval
He's actually the OG conspiracy theorist for YouTube, for all these things.
intelligence officer who spent the end of his days on a hilltop in rural Arizona, broadcasting his rambling theories via a shortwave radio to anyone who tuned in. He was the author of the conspiracy manifesto Behold a Pale Horse. His ideas were the forerunners of some of the biggest conspiracy theories around today, like alien mythology, the Illuminati, and the mysteries surrounding JFK. Cooper was warning his followers that a major terrorist attack was coming on American soil, and that the government would use a man called Osama bin Laden as the scapegoat.
Oh my gosh, bro. No. Yo, no. You know, it's when you don't want to believe conspiracy theorists, then everything they speak of turns out to be true, bro. The gap between conspiracy theorists and real information, bro, I swear, becomes shorter, and shorter the more time we give it. The more time, like, the government fucks up, and the more time there's whistleblowers and leaks coming out, bro. I swear, from conspiracy to real thing is a gap of just fuck ups, just waiting to happen. Then boom, leak comes out, and all that shit that nigga was saying is true, bro.
He'd watched the now infamous CNN interview with bin Laden in his hideout and couldn't believe what he was seeing. And you've got to pause on this particular point because it is utterly bizarre.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I've just completely forgotten about
This is crazy.
In 1997, CNN journalist Peter Arnett went to Afghanistan and interviewed Osama bin Laden on camera. Bin Laden then used the interview to basically declare war on America on television and broadcast this to the world.
You have declared a jihad against the
bin Laden's
United
crazy.
States. Can you tell us why?
That nigga's
The
crazy.
comments on the original broadcast say what everyone's thinking, like, USA, how'd you find him? Reporter, snitches get stitches. And CIA, FBI, and Interpol were searching for him like crazy at the time, and this reporter just found him that easy. The point being, either every intelligence agency in America is incompetent, or they knew exactly where he was and weren't pulling out all the stops to catch him. The intelligence community's argument is that knowing roughly where someone is in a lawless tribal region of Afghanistan
Is
and
not
then
enough.
being able to capture or kill them are two completely different things. The US had no troops on the ground in Afghanistan at this point, but the counterpoint still stands, and Cooper argued that bin Laden was already a CIA creation, funded and trained during the Soviet-Afghan War. And
What? Cuban leader Fidel Castro has said that Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden is a bought and paid for CIA agent who always popped up whenever former US President George Bush needed to scare the world, arguing that documents recently posted onto internet proves it. Bro, what is, oh, 2010? I was a kid. I was like, where was this information coming? Like, nah, I was a baby, bro. I was a baby, bro. I was a wee little boy.
In the 1980s. CNN were merely maneuvering him into a position to justify future military operations and give people a face and name to pin those future headlines to. Then, on June 28, 2001, less than 3 months before 9/11, Cooper would say this on air.
And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it.
9/11 then happens, and on November 5th, 2 months after the attacks, he was shot dead by Apache County Sheriff's deputies outside his home.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yo, this is craziness.
He
This
said
is
they'd come to
crazy.
serve an arrest warrant for tax evasion charges he'd been dodging since 1998. But they did arrive at 11:40 at night, while also using plainclothes officers to bait him out of his house, and then that was the end of his story. Now, whatever you think about
Wow.
the event of 9/11 itself, it definitely was an inflection point for a new wave of conspiracy theories, some of which came true pretty quickly, because a couple of years later, Edward Snowden walked out of a facility in Hawaii with tens of thousands of classified documents and pulled the pin on the biggest leak in a generation.
And this became a mass surveillance.
Damn. Should I start watching these Joe Rogan things, bro? To me personally, I'm gonna say right here, I think some of the shit they talk about on the Joe Rogan thing aren't really true. Not this episode or anything, but I think I'm just gonna find like a good list of credible people and just hear what they say. Because I always avoided watching the Joe Rogan thing. One, the podcast, which was something I was not interested in, but I've found some podcasts where I find entertaining, and I understand why people enjoy them now. I don't know. Probably in the future, I'll start watching some of his episodes. I don't even like Joe Rogan personally.
Program called Stellar Wind, which they said was supposed to monitor the phone calls and internet communications, emails, and things like that of everybody in the United States and around the world.
He documented,
Which is something that is happening right now, bro. Like a lot of the US is going under a rapid transformation of surveillance. And this is not even conspiracy. This is shit you can see right now. Yo, this shit, that's the worst part. It's not even conspiracy.
backdoors in Google, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft. Virtually every big tech company was compromised and cataloging your data while censoring information at the government's request, which turned out even worse when the Twitter files leaked a few years later. And all of that time, the Director of National Intelligence had lied through his teeth under oath to Congress.
But what does it
Damn.
mean for a democracy when you can lie under oath to Congress, and the congressman even knows you're lying to them, but they're afraid to correct you?
But what most people don't know is that this started years earlier.
Yeah. One look at this guy, you could tell. He was probably military, did a lot of bad shit, just kept on going up and up and up. Is this all true? No, I don't even know who the fuck this is. I assume this is the FBI director or whoever was there at that time
With a
doing
guy
some
named William
bullshit.
Binney, one of the agency's best codebreakers. William had designed a surveillance system called ThinThread that could collect intelligence and still at least attempt to maintain privacy, but after 9/11, the NSA scrapped it, killed the legal safeguards, and used his own work to spy on the entire country without telling anyone.
After 9/11, they took one of the programs had done.
I apologize for my outburst. I would like to rescind. Is that rescind, or I would like to take back my statement and cancel me. Cancel me. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I assumed the man's character and I just put it on him. I am at fault. I accept responsibility. I accept responsibility. Holy, learn to shut up, Shields.
Back end part of it, and started to use it to spy on everybody in this country.
When he tried to blow the whistle through proper channels, the FBI showed up at his house with guns drawn while he was getting out of the shower.
And they came in and pointed a gun at me when I was
Oh
getting
my gosh, thank God. Thank God he didn't die today. I was like, no, not another person just dying, bro.
out of the shower at the time, so they pointed. a
I
gun
hope
right
he's
at my
still
head,
alive.
I said, hey. I wasn't too upset. I just said, yeah, I suppose I could get dressed here. This is something the KGB, the Stasi, or the Gestapo would have loved to have had about their populations. And just because we call ourselves a democracy doesn't mean we will stay that way.
Snowden himself said that William was a part of a group of early NSA whistleblowers who tried to expose similar programs before he did, and each one got destroyed for doing so. One of them, a senior NSA executive called Thomas Drake, found that the NSA was spending billions on surveillance programs that were both illegal and broken. After he reported it internally and nothing happened, he decided to take his story to the Baltimore Sun. He was then immediately apprehended and charged under the Espionage Act, facing 35 years in prison, though the charges were dropped before the trial.
Yeah, Bill Binney is part of, shall we say, the group of early NSA whistleblowers who came with Thomas Drake.
Is Edward Snowden still alive? I feel like I'll be dead ass scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be dead ass scared as Edward Snowden. And a lot of there's another journalist. His name is Christopher something or Christo something. Holy, would I be scared to be that guy? The Christopher dude I'm talking about, he's wanted by Russia, bro. Putin himself knows his name. Holy, look it up, bro. Look
Bill
it
Binney,
up.
Kirk Wiebe, I believe, and Ed Loomis. And these guys all got their doors kicked in, you know, they got harassed.
But it's not just serious intelligence guys and journalists who get caught up in these kinds of controversies. Bob Marley's music tells you a lot about what he thought of power and the government. His entire worldview was built on the idea that the systems running the world were corrupt, exploitative, and fundamentally designed to keep ordinary people down. You could even say he inspired an entire generation of conspiracy theorists. Listen to Alex Jones talk.
Is this why they love him? Hold on. Hey, I don't want to listen to Bob Marley, you know? So maybe I need to tap into my island side. Why you say it? Maybe I need to tap into my island side, you know what I mean? That's a real island boy.
About him on Info.
I'll never know. I'll
I
listen.
listened to Bob Marley again the other day. I was on a Bob Marley jag. And I'm like, this guy was Alex Jones before I was born. It's a powerful song. He goes in to talk about the technocracy and the scientific elite wanting to kill humanity and destroy our children. Every song's poetry. We're the survivors.
You've probably heard of the Rastafarian word Babylon. In Rastafari, Babylon envelops the police, the government, the colonial system, basically the entire Western power system that keeps ordinary people at the bottom. Bob was preaching to millions that this system was their enemy. Then, just as his career was reaching its peak, this happened.
Entertainer and reggae star Bob Marley, Rita Marley, and the manager of the Wailers, Don Taylor, are now patients in the University Hospital after receiving gunshot wounds during a shooting incident which took place at Marley's home at 56 Hope Road tonight.
Bob then left Jamaica the next morning and didn't return for months. Jamaica's government had been moving towards socialism, which the US saw as a major threat, and he believed he'd been targeted as a result. It was a classic CIA-backed coup, as the island was now being flooded with cheap guns, drugs, propaganda, and brutal policing tactics. According to documents in the CIA archive that you can see here, the Washington-backed campaign left over 750 people dead, and Edward Seager, the US-backed candidate, won the election. Declassified files have since confirmed that Marley had his own CIA file and was labeled
labeled as subversive. The CIA was particularly concerned with the increasingly cozy relationship between Marley and Fidel Castro and feared that Jamaica would follow Cuba into communism. Holy. Who shot the sheriff wonders if killing Marley was an attempt by the CIA, which allegedly supplied guns to the JLP, which I assume is a Jamaican political group, for lack of better words, to destabilize Jamaica and make it look bad. Holy, bro. Wow. You generally can't even say much rather than wow. It's one of those when you receive a lot of information and you're like, the fuck?
Subversive.
Do you think
This
Bob
is
Marley
our
was dangerous?
reality.
Yes. He was very dangerous on all sorts of levels. He was dangerous in a very basic way. The idea in 1976 that you would get poor Jamaicans to start thinking for themselves in itself was dangerous.
Hey, one thing I do know, a lot of even companies hate when you start thinking, boy. I'll tell you now. Go think. Go say that you see some problems to your manager and see what happens. A lot of companies, even governments, countries, hate when niggas start thinking, bro.
And the idea that this guy with this
Y'all think Solomonati listens to Bob Marley or has heard of this? Because that nigga, he's a person who's trying to think outside the box and try to see uh see you know what I'm saying? See beyond the spectrum. Yeah, that's a nice way to say it. See beyond the spectrum. I wonder if he said that shit.
You know, uncombed here.
What if one day, bro, Solomonati drops a video, boom, predicts something so crazy that we called him crazy. We called him, yeah, go to bed, unk, go this, go to that. Yeah, then that shit turns out to be true. Holy, bro.
Speaking terribly.
Because at some point, if we keep thinking, if we keep putting out, think pieces, you're gonna be right at some point. Only takes one. And then the others be like a snowball thing. Hopefully. Some people are genuinely crazy though. You know what I'm saying? Not every person who thinks outside the box is bound to be right. Some niggas are just crazy.
Becoming this voice of freedom and black struggle.
Bob Marley's manager, who took most of the bullets that night of the shooting, wrote in his memoir that he believed the CIA was behind it. It's now thought they might have paid for it with drugs and guns. Bob Marley then dies of cancer at age 36, long before any of the CIA files were declassified. He never got to see the proof that the world he'd been warning people about was real. And the era he represented, where a musician could threaten the establishment by telling people to think for themselves, died with him. But controlling entire governments is somehow pretty mainstream compared to what others have exposed. This is Ted Gunderson, who once ran the FBI's Los Angeles field office. A serious guy with deep agency experience and knowledge. When he retired, he spent decades on the lecture circuit warning everyone about government mind control programs, blackmail operations, and potential ritual-style abuse.
A long time ago, I talked about how they have these islands, they fly, they compromise children. But I learned all this from Ted Gunderson 20 plus.
Yo, bro, I need to watch a video of every single Alex Jones prediction where he was right. I'm not even interested in Alex Jones, but I just find it funny that just this random broadcaster is saying all these things out loud to the public. Everybody's like saying he's crazy. Then it turns out that he's not crazy, but he is kind of crazy. Yo, that shit is funny to me. I need to see like a compilation of everything he was right about. And then you need to see how many things he was wrong about. I wonder what's his KD. Now say, in this sense, view KD as kills as being how much he was right about, and deaths as being how many things he was wrong about.
Years ago, he was in line to be the FBI director. He was the head of the FBI in Los Angeles.
Jeffrey's operation might feel new, but Gunderson tells you that it's probably just the latest installment of a strategy running for over 50 years.
He came out and he was the one that explained to me about how they use these blackmail rings, elements of the CIA, and foreign intelligence groups, and how they would basically make people have sex with children to be part of these clubs.
Oh my gosh, they were no. Let me not say that. Some of them could have been blackmailed. But I do believe a great majority wanted to do that shit.
They were setting up.
Gunderson also linked these kinds of operations with possible satanic ritual abuse. But in the late 80s and 90s, this was lumped in with the satanic panic and treated as mass hysteria. That's a big reason why he lost his credibility.
I'm not an anti-government person, I'm an anti-corruptionist.
Oh, that's a bar right there. That's a bar right there. I'm not an anti-government. Anti-corruption. Oh, that's a bar right there. That's a bar.
I love my country, and I will continue, as long as I'm alive, to continue to expose this evil element that's permeated.
This is from 2010.
Like all the others, they called him paranoid and delusional. He was labeled a crackpot, desperate for attention. But lo and behold, down the line, many of the things Gunderson warned about were indeed proved true. One of the creepiest concerned a religious cult called the Finders, a Washington DC based cult he described as a CIA child kidnapping organization.
Oh
In
my
1987, police in
gosh.
Tallahassee, Florida found 6 children in a park filthy, covered in bug bites, accompanied by 2 well-dressed men who couldn't explain who these children belonged to. The trail then led to a property owned by the cult where a US customs officer found computer equipment and documents containing instructions for obtaining children, including
Bro, what is yo, I understand why these niggas go crazy now. Let me block this so I don't fucking get shadow banned or get, I don't know. But I understand why they go crazy now, bro. I'm going crazy seeing all of this shit come true. Now imagine you have all this information, right? All this information that proves like this shit is happening, and then no one believes you. Holy shit. No wonder they turn out crazy. No wonder they look sad. Oh my God. Oh my God. Crazy things, bro.
purchasing
Crazy
them,
things.
trading them, and kidnapping them. The investigation was then hastily shut down.
No, the Finders is a cult that was caught trafficking children, and the CIA squashed the Florida.
Does this nigga have a t-shirt that says Free Ghislaine? Wow. Wow.
And then Gunderson got it raided in D.C. and found a whole CIA facility with the snuff films, everything.
Telex machine.
And so he told me about all this, and I thought he was crazy.
Anyone who repeated Gunderson's claims were immediately dismissed. That wasn't until 2019, when the FBI declassified 650 pages confirming that the CIA had been involved in the investigation, and that the
The FBI released the information about the CIA. Do they not work together? What is going on? NSA, CIA, FBI, do they not work as one? Holy, interdepartmental beef is real, bro. This shit is real.
State Department had mysteriously helped bury it, and that a former member of the group had admitted to doing security work for the FBI, NSA, and other government agencies. And the founding leader's wife had been a CIA employee for 21 years, and it was classed as an internal matter for the agency. It literally took over 30 years for Gunderson to be proved right in his belief that intelligence agencies were in the loop and buried the case. We don't know why, but he always alleged a link to other ritualistic practices across America, including Bohemian Grove, and some of his early ideas are now creepier than ever in light of what they found on Mr. Jeffrey's private island.
Holy.
Sell for like $100,000, private collections. The kids are sold for $50,000 on an auction block. Paul has attended 6 auctions, as few as 6 and as many as 36.
Oh my
kids,
gosh.
boys and girls, mostly young kids, were auctioned off for up to $50,000 each. It's big business.
While no agency linked to the extent alleged by Gunderson or Alex Jones has been formally established, nobody was convicted of a crime in relation to what the police found that day. Ted also often talked about MKUltra, which was declassified in his era, but he always claimed it was wildly misunderstood in how far it went. The goal was to hijack the brain, altering or erasing memories or creating assassins you'd kill on command with no memory of being programmed.
Sleeper agent.
It started with CIA employees, but that quickly backfired, so they had to start testing on the public instead. And to do that, they came up with something called Operation Midnight Climax.
So they went to San Francisco, they rented a safe house, and they hired...
know what's one of the funny things about this? Like, all these people could be speaking facts, right? And the CIA, FBI lets them speak about this because they know the general public will not believe them. They know a very large majority of the general public will not believe what they say or won't take it seriously. Oh, to be honest, some niggas don't give a fuck. Let's be honest. Some people don't give a fuck about all these things that are happening. They care about themselves only, and that's it. That's the reality of our society nowadays. Look how fast big events just come and go. And all those things they're actually still happening. All the lawsuits, the court, the trials, and all that shit, it's still happening, but it's not reported. Because why? Well, we need the next big thing. Crazy.
To go out on the street, pick up Johns, bring them back to the safe house, dose the Johns with LSD, and just see what happens.
While these guys were losing their minds, CIA operatives sat behind one-way mirrors watching the whole thing while sipping a whiskey and smoking a cigarette.
It's fucking AI. It is AI.
Where this went off the rails, in a handful of ways, in many ways, was testing on unwitting subjects, things such as LSD and a variety of other substances. Yeah, whoops.
This was back when people were naive about drugs, so just imagine for a second that you begin to hallucinate wildly and you have absolutely no explanation for what's happening to you. One of the main guys caught up in MKUltra was an army biochemist called Frank Olson. He was working on classified research when they slipped LSD into his drink at a work retreat without telling him. 9 days later, he throws himself through the window of a hotel room in New York. The CIA told his family he'd had a breakdown, but his son Eric believed his father had witnessed something he wasn't supposed to see, possibly the use of bioweapons on prisoners. Eric had his father's body dug up, and the autopsy found blunt force trauma to the skull. The Manhattan DA classified the death from to homicide. That story was then later made into the Netflix show Wormwood.
Oh, I need to watch that. I've never heard that. Let me write that down. I actually need to watch that shit.
I was told that your father has had an accident.
When Congress finally started asking questions in 1973, the CIA director ordered that the MKUltra files should be destroyed.
In 1973, the CIA director ordered mass destruction of the MKUltra files. What we know comes from accidentally surviving documents, meaning this is a sanitized version.
Burning the files is one way to bury the truth, but there's another pattern of scrubbing the evidence here that speaks for itself, and you're probably starting to notice it by now. This is Gary Webb, a journalist who proved the CIA had knowingly allowed drug traffickers to funnel crack into black communities in LA throughout the 80s.
Yeah, this one we know. One of the things I know is actually this one.
His own editors abandoned him, and he lost everything. Then he was found dead in 2004 with 2 gunshot wounds to the head, ruled self-inflicted. The CIA's
self-inflicted? 2 gunshots to the head, self-inflicted? How was that even possible?
He'd been right all along. Then there's Frank Serpico, a New York cop who spent years trying to report corruption inside the NYPD. Nobody wanted to.
Yo, isn't the NYPD one of the biggest corrupt police departments there is in the USA? I think next to them is fucking Los Angeles. And the reason why I put them like 1 or 2 is because they are bigger. But I do think a lot of the small counties have far more corrupt police departments. Like those small towns, small areas where there's a large police department, not a large, but a police department, I do believe some of those counties have one of the worst corruptions. Bro, from my own experience, from a town my homie lives in, police there, bro, I swear every single motherfucker that goes through that police department is corrupt. I don't even know how.
And during a drug raid in Brooklyn, his fellow officers let him walk in alone, and he took a bullet to the face. They then made a film about it with Al Pacino called Serpico, but the department never apologized. And then there's David Kelly, who was one of the UK's top weapons experts, who told a BBC journalist that the British government had hyped up its case for invading Iraq. He was then outed, dragged before Parliament, and then found dead in the woods near his home. Again, ruled self-inflicted. Years later, a public inquiry confirmed everything he'd said, and a panel of doctors and scientists doubted the official cause of death. And that pattern of convenient fatalities continues to the present day. In 2024, a quality...
Then, what's that? Boeing also result in Boeing whistleblowers result in quote-unquote them offing themselves, but bro, this is crazy,
bro. The manager
bro.
at Boeing called Josh Barnett had raised concerns for years about safety shortcuts.
Yo, what? I don't even know who the fuck that was. The odds of me talking about Boeing and then the next very clip is Boeing.
On the 737 MAX production line. He was then found dead in his car in the midst of his whistleblower lawsuit against the company. And again, it was of course ruled self-inflicted. But there is one story buried in all of this that probably affects you right now, and not in a historical or political sense. If you're one of 98% of Americans, there's a cancer-causing chemical coursing through your veins and arteries right now. And the
But
guy who warned us
microplastics?
about it was yet again dismissed as a delusional conspiracy theorist. He is Robert Billett, a corporate defense lawyer in Cincinnati whose entire career was spent representing chemical companies. So he was about the last person you'd expect to take on one of the most notorious in history. In 1998, a farmer approached him to say his cattle were dying, foaming at the mouth with their teeth turning black and tumors growing out of their sides.
Oh my
He'd
gosh.
filmed this all on a home video camera, and the footage is genuinely horrible, with cows stumbling around and collapsing by a creek that runs downstream from a DuPont landfill. He'd already tried local regulators, state agencies, and every lawyer in the region, but nobody would touch it because in that part of West Virginia, the company he suspected of being behind it, called DuPont, was one that you didn't want to mess with.
They had a big influence, bro. I'm telling you, big companies in small towns, small counties, whatever, big influence, bro. Big
Robert found
influence.
when he started pulling at the thread, would consume the next 25 years of his life.
This is why you see like big warehouses and all those things. You wouldn't. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, why don't they build in their own states?" Like, California companies usually don't have. They only have offices in California. Like they would have their home office in California, but their manufacturing, their warehouse is all out of state. And when you go to that, you realize it's all in a place where they can have influence. Oh yeah, they're bringing in lots of money, employment, big influence, bro.
Requested internal documents from DuPont that pointed to a chemical called PFOA, also known as C8, which was used in manufacturing Teflon, the non-stick coating on your pans, your waterproof jackets, your mic.
What? I have a non-stick pan I use. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? Don't tell me I have to throw that shit away, gang. Oh no, I'm gonna go on Google. It's gonna tell me I have cancer, that my balls are gonna fucking fall off, bro. No.
Microwave popcorn bags. Basically every
Why do they sell it then? Why do they sell it?
products in every household in the country. DuPont had then been dumping this into the local water supply, and their
Oh
own
my
internal study
gosh.
showed they knew exactly the damage it was capable of inflicting. They'd found elevated cancer rates in their own factory workers. They
Oh my-
tested the blood of pregnant
1989.
employees and found the chemical in their unborn children. They knew it accumulated in human tissue, and they knew it.
Yo, is DuPont still in business? I can fucking look it up right now. It looks like they're still in business. Yeah. Number of employees 2025 to 15,000. It's still operating. In August 2017, DuPont merged with Dow Chemical Company and renamed itself Dow DuPont. Fucking terrible name. After 18 months, it spun off its material science divisions into a new corporate entity bearing Dow Chemical's names and the agribusiness division into Corteva. Dow DuPont reverted its name. I did say it's a fucking terrible name. Reverted its name to DuPont and kept the specialty products division. They're still operating after all the shit they've done. Wow.
Didn't break down ever. This is Robert speaking out about it himself.
We're talking about chemical contamination that goes far beyond, far beyond one farmer's.
That's that DuPont. We need to start renaming, like, if somebody is getting Teflon poison and is coughing a lot, we need to rename it to do a DuPont cough so people know. Oh yeah, you got that DuPont cough. You still got Teflon in your shit. You still got, non-stick pans and whatever else was mentioned. That's that DuPont cough. Yep. Let it be known I coined that term, DuPont cough. And DuPont, if you come after me, just know I don't believe anything that is said right here. I don't believe it. I denounce this man's claims. I don't want to die, yeah. I'm not. Like, I love my life. I love my life.
Property in West Virginia. We're talking about contamination now.
Shit.
That's in drinking water all across this country.
Yo,
now
thank
all
God I have 0 views. I hope this video never blows up. Yo, I genuinely hope this video never blows up, bro. People don't even watch videos like this for that long. Yo.
across the world.
Today, the term forever chemicals that you're probably familiar with is basically all because of his work.
We are now bringing a new case where we're seeking to represent everyone in the country who now has these chemicals in their blood. But what we now know is PFOA is just one of many of these man-made synthetic chemicals that are getting out in our water, in our blood.
As Robert says, it doesn't even stop there, because these chemicals have been leached across the US.
Just outside of Bangor, Maine is Herman High School. Some 500 kids come here each day to learn, but they can't drink the water.
We're alleging that 3M and DuPont created these chemicals, had the science that showed just how dangerous they were, how toxic they were.
How are they still in business?
Correlations with thyroid disease,
How are they
certain
still in
kinds of
business?
cancer, kidney disease, liver dysfunction. They're called forever chemicals because they stay in your body.
They're in the tap water, they're in the rain, they're in the food supply. They've even
They're in the rain. How the fuck are they in the rain when the rain comes? Okay, I don't know about that part. That's crazy.
reached the Arctic and other countries. So this disaster is not only contained to the US. DuPont settled the initial lawsuits for
670 million, nigga. The settlement should come as them losing their entire business, closing down. What? 670 million for poisoning damn near the entire United States, damn near the entire earth. Oh my gosh. Once again, DuPont, I do not believe anything of this. This person probably is a conspiracy theorist themselves, and I don't believe all of this. Yes, I don't believe anything at all. In fact, I'm opposed to thinking, DuPont. If I were to be honest, I'm opposed to thinking. I don't think the general public should be thinking at all. We should be taking what the government and the companies that you have the resources. You know what I mean?
$670 million, and the litigation is still ongoing.
Don't get
the
me,
story
guy.
was eventually made into a Hollywood
Don't
film,
get
Dark
me.
Waters, in 20.
Why is there so many? Bro, I haven't even heard of these things, these shows.
Starring Mark Ruffalo as Robert, and a documentary, The Devil We Know, which followed the families in West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm writing
whose
all of
water
this
had been
down.
Poisoned. But no one listened until the damage was done, and that's the way it goes, time after time after time.
That's
They
facts
get
right
called
there.
Crazy. They lose
That's
their career,
facts
their
right
family,
there.
all their life, and then years later, a document surfaces, a court makes a ruling, or a journalist finally gets hold of the file, and the lie is suddenly the truth. Maybe this is you. Maybe you've had a feeling about something that didn't.
It's not you, gang. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's not you, gang. It is not. That thought that you had, just put it away. Put it away and go about your day. Go about your day. Like, yo, it's Chio 2. I'm out of here. Once again, I don't believe anything that I just heard. The term I coined, the DuPont cough. Yeah, that was made recklessly, and I take it back. I don't want credit. I don't want my name near it. Yeah, I'm out. I'm done trolling.